Welcome. I'm Richard Martin, the Flying Above marketer, and I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to what I have to say. We've talked about a number of things over the last couple of weeks here on Mondays, but you know, when it comes to overall marketing, there is only really one thing that matters, and that is that you make a connection with the person you're speaking with. I mean, that's all about it. If you can't make that connection, not much is going to happen, I'm afraid. So when we look at this, the best way to get somebody to pay attention, get you to ask questions about to you is ask them a question. So they're going to respond to you. Now, that seems a little inverted there, I know, but once you do that, then you can come back to them and say, what questions do you have? How can I serve you? How can I help you get bigger, better, faster on that? So the relationship is what's all important. That's what matters the most is in building relationships. And the number one way you want to start building relationships is like I just mentioned, listen and listen really, really well. Okay, on doing that. Because once you listen, you're going to create an identity for yourself. So that's what's important. That identity is what's going to bind you together. You know their identity before you get there. They're going to know your identity after you get through speaking. And that's what's so important about doing all of this. You know, little ways to really get off the unknown list is, have a little one-on-one conversation with them. Listen, connect with them, get their birthday, their favorite pastime, their favorite vacation spot, their family. Do they have kids? Do they have grandkids? I mean, you asked me about my grandkids, and this may never end. I can talk a long time on my grandkids because I love them. And I get to have just pure enjoyment when I'm with them. So we've got to all make this go into one system, into one, I don't want to use the word process, but to inculcate our being. So it's organic in its nature. It's organic in what we're putting together. That's the biggest, strongest point that we have there. That relationship, you know, it's binding us together. It's got that super glue that we're dealing with and putting all this together, you know, but it gets to the point where the relationship will solidify. And once that relationship solidifies, then you get into the next phase. You start talking as an advisor to them, as somebody that's working with them. Let's say you sell an airplane, and I'm the one that's trying to purchase it. Once you get the conversation going, you assume that they're going to purchase it, and you give them questions to answer. You know, what is the purpose you're going to use your aircraft for? It can be anything from commercial to recreational and every point in between. But that gives you the first jumping off point. That gives you an identity to them, a little identity, and that helps in the connection process of what we're doing. You know, birthdays, favorite parties, vacations. This is all about building relationships. So that you take that, and by that engagement alone, okay, you're going to get to know each other, so that when you're having a conversation, like I said, you're not going to be reactive. You will be proactive. You have the accountability. Really important. You can hold yourself accountable. I'm putting that together. You can build partnerships. All of this is so fundamental in what we're doing and how we're putting all this together. And, you know, to me, it's not work, it's fun, because I love getting to know people. I love to get to know what their why is. Why are they doing what they're doing? Not just how long have they been doing it. It's like you're trying to read a resume somewhere or not. That's not the purpose of this. That's not the way it goes. You know, make sure you get those things I just mentioned before. You know, that whole list I read out: birthdays, favorite pastime activities, vacations, kids, grandkids, vacation spots. Those are things that people can remember. You give them a flyer, you give them a brochure, they pick one up out of the stainless steel rack or aluminum rack that you have up there. There's no connection to that. There's absolutely no connection to that. And that's what we have to really work on developing. We have to really work on getting that in a really strong sense of urgency when we're talking about this. Because when you can get their birthdays or anniversaries, and they possibly will get the clue and ask for you. And once that happens, once that happens, everything changes. You know, you're going to become an advocate for them, and they're going to become an advocate for you, and everything else is just going to be absolutely smooth, because you built a relationship. You built that foundation on how we put everything together. You know, none of us learn to walk without falling down. It's going to happen. But that's what we want to happen. Because every time you fall down, every time you get turned down, every time somebody asks you a question you can't answer, these are the things that make you better, and it makes you more believable in your prospects' eyes, because they can relate to those type of questions. Make sense? If not, go to my YouTube channel. It'll come out on the message that you will receive from me later on. And go through and look at these points. The next thing I want to do is, I'm going to be starting up here real soon. And if you email me, I'll make sure you're on my email list. And we're going to do some Zoom marketing questions. We're gonna all get together and help each other out on what we're doing. More on that later, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. That's where we get to really start talking about the how-tos and building a strategy and all of those type of things. So I just appreciate your time so much. You have a great day, and just make some relationships, make some friends. Take care, guys. Like you. Bye.